Whoa, wait! No, you don't get it! If we give the government this much leverage over our civil liberties, they'll start mandating things like vaccine passports to exclude people who don't submit to the government from participating in society. Conspiracy theorists! Stop making this political! This is about saving lives!
Well, that escalated quickly. Just a few months ago, dumbass mask holes on social media were telling us that vaccination passports were just a conspiracy theory. Now they're out there actively begging for them, and they're saying that they're our fastest path back to normal. Plus, they're trying to justify their existence by comparing them to the yellow fever vaccination cards that are required to travel to certain mosquito-infested jungles. But vaccine passports really have nothing to do with getting back to normal, and comparing them to yellow fever travel cards is really just plain stupid. Welcome back to Renegade News. If you haven't already, smash that subscribe and that notification button, and let's get right into it. After living through more than a year of the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, lockdowns, wearing 2, 3, 4, 5 masks, and staying away from grandma, the usual suspects are back at it again. This time, they're pushing for vaccine passports. Similar in practice to the old phrase of show me your papers, vaccine passports would allow patrons to easily allow or deny passage of customers to theaters, stadiums, wedding receptions, arenas, music venues, restaurants, or really any other location that they deem as appropriate. Not surprisingly, Governor Andrew Cuomo, the guy accused of causing increased death due to his policy of locking up COVID-positive patients in nursing homes and then underreporting deaths in his state, he's pushed to make his state the first U.S. state that have implemented these passports. According to USA Today, starting Friday, New Yorkers will be able to pull up a code on their cell phone or a printout to prove that they've been vaccinated against COVID-19 or that they've recently tested negative for the virus that causes it. Internationally, Mr. Dress-Up, also known as Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he's changed his tunes in the last recent couple of weeks. Well, originally he said he was against the passports due to their potential for discrimination, something that I'm going to talk about in just a minute. He's since warmed up to the idea, saying that some kind of passport or vaccination form for international travel is something that countries are actively exploring, and we're among those countries. And of course, Europe has fallen in love with the idea of digital passports, with Tony Blair saying it's just a matter of time before they take off. He envisions a digital health certificate or passport that is recognized universally that combines vaccination and testing status. He says this would both allow countries to defend themselves better against the coronavirus and also permit people to start traveling and going about their favorite activities. Countries like Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Singapore have already introduced these vaccine passports. But while these rulers act like Darth Vader when he's choking the life out of any of us who ask questions about anything,
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Not everyone is on the vaccine passport gravy train. The Libertarian Party of Kentucky recently asked on Twitter, are the vaccine passports going to be yellow, shaped like a star, and sewn on our clothes? Florida Governor Ron DeSantis believes that they're an unnecessary imposition on daily life. He says that we are not going to support the idea of vaccine passports in Florida.
The idea that you should have to show that to be able to participate in normal activity, like going to a football game or a movie theater or any of that, certainly for government to force you, that's something that's not acceptable.
And Missouri senators are running close behind, taking steps to ban COVID-19 vaccination passports in the state. Beyond just the basic infringements on privacy, vaccine passports are terrifying because we all know that the government is famous for going above and beyond the expected bounds of any initiative that they introduce. U.S. House of Representatives member Justin Amash said, I believe a vaccine passport, even one privately managed, will have exceedingly negative consequences on society. I also don't believe the government will stay out of it. Nor do I believe they'll stop at COVID or vaccinations. The expansion of the Patriot Act and FISA is instructive. And that is only one example. What happens when the infringements on your health privacy go beyond knowing whether you've taken the shot for COVID? In addition, it's easy to see that vaccine passports will discriminate based on race and social economic situation. For example, according to an article on newrepublic.com, with an unequal healthcare system, limited vaccine access, and class-driven technological disparities, vaccine passports may end up being another tool for the rich to return to normal life, while the people who are already being failed by our current system of vaccine rollouts find themselves left further out in the cold. Dr. Marcella Nunez-Smith, the chair of President Biden's Coronavirus Equity Task Force, says people of color are getting vaccinated at rates below their representation of the general population. And according to KFF.org, across these 40 states, the vaccination rate among white people was nearly twice as high as the rate for Hispanic people. Even the WHO admits that vaccine passports would create a two-tier travel culture, saying that governments shouldn't require vaccination certificates because it's not clear if people who have been vaccinated can still pass the COVID-19 virus on to other people. Besides, demanding vaccine passports for disease that already exists in a community is significantly different than the yellow fever cards, which are specific to geographical regions. And it's different from anything that we've ever seen before. Like Representative Amash says, a vaccine passport is not what we already do. It's not proof of vaccination for international travel or schooling. It's proof of vaccination for everyday living. Groceries, restaurants, movies. It's disingenuous to conflate the former with the latter. Look, it's easy to understand why people are rushing to get the COVID-19 vaccines. According to The Guardian, we know vaccinated people are protected in 63 to 95% of cases from developing COVID-19 and its symptoms, depending on the vaccine. However, according to infectious disease physician Professor Gregory Dorr, while the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are up to 95% effective in prevention of symptoms, it's extremely unlikely that any vaccine would achieve such a high level of infection prevention. Even though the point of vaccines is protecting those who have taken the vaccine, not reducing its transmission, the globalist media has done a great job of convincing people that vaccine passports are a good idea for their own safety. In Britain, the majority of people are fine with this assault on their civil liberties. In a recent survey, a representative sample of over 8,300 people over the age of 16 in the United Kingdom found that 78% of respondents were in favor of vaccine passports for travel abroad or to visit a relative living in a care home. And they also included high numbers in theaters, pubs, restaurants, and more. Why are people so in love with this infringement on their privacy? Isn't it wrong to discriminate against individuals by stopping their ability to shop, for groceries, go to shows, or enjoy travel? Am I alone in thinking that people's health decisions are deeply personal and they need to remain private between them and their chosen healthcare providers? When are the globalist rulers going to stop infringing on those basic rights? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you click the link in the description and subscribe right now so that every week you'll get the inside scoop on the latest infringements and wins in your fight for freedom and liberty. If you enjoyed this edition of Renegade News, please hit the like and the share button. We would really appreciate it.